Do you think a supernatural being that invades nightmares, transforms into anything, and feeds on human fear is stronger than a murderer who resurrects from hell and doesn't die even with a bullet to the head? Do you think Freddy Krueger is more powerful than Jason Voorhees? Who do you think would win in a fight? The dream demon who controls reality, or the physical monster who never stops pursuing victims even after death? Leave your comment now. Let's now discover the bizarre anatomy of Freddy Krueger and understand what makes him so powerful and unstoppable. A Nightmare on Elm Street isn't just one of the most iconic horror films ever created, but it also introduced the world to an antagonist who would revolutionize the genre forever. Freddy Krueger, with his red and green striped sweater, fedora hat, burned skin, and infamous bladed glove, transcended the status of a simple villain to become a cultural phenomenon. 1, 2. Freddy's coming for you. The nursery rhyme that terrorized an entire generation illustrates how Krueger penetrated the collective imagination, becoming a modern mythological figure. Today, we'll explore not only the history of this dream demon, but delve into the depths of his supernatural physiology, disturbing psychology, and the mechanisms that make Freddy one of the most fascinating antagonists in horror cinema. The Dark Origins. Freddy Krueger was born on November 12, 1938, the product of one of the most traumatic conceptions ever portrayed in horror cinema. His mother, Amanda Krueger, was a nun who worked at Western Hills Psychiatric Asylum. During the Christmas season, in a catastrophic security failure, Amanda was accidentally locked in a ward with the most violent inmates who repeatedly raped her for days. From this heinous act was born Frederick Charles Krueger, literally conceived from evil in its purest form. Freddy's childhood was marked by continuous trauma. Raised by the abusive Mr. Underwood, his adoptive father, young Freddy faced constant bullying at school, where he was called the son of 100 maniacs. These early traumas shaped his distorted psyche, manifesting sadistic behaviors from an early age, including self-mutilation with blades and the killing of small animals. This character construction, created by Wes Craven, wasn't accidental. It establishes the Freudian concept of childhood trauma as the basis for deviant adult behavior, adding psychological depth to a genre that frequently settled for one-dimensional killers. The demonic transformation. The turning point in Freddy's existence occurred when the furious parents of Springwood, after his release on a legal technicality, took justice into their own hands. They cornered him in the boiler room where he committed his crimes, setting the place on fire and burning Krueger alive. However, Krueger's physical death was merely the prelude to his supernatural evolution. At the moment of his death, 3 ancient entities known as dream demons offered Freddy a pact: unlimited power in the dream realm in exchange for becoming their agent in the mortal world. This pact transformed Krueger into a unique entity in the pantheon of slasher villains, a killer who transcended death to become a metaphysical predator. This transformation wasn't merely cosmetic. Freddy's anatomy underwent a fundamental transfiguration. Incorporeal body. Unlike killers like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers, Freddy primarily exists as a spectral entity. His burned body in the real world is just an anchorage for his existence in the dream realm. Adaptive regeneration. Even when killed in subsequent films, Freddy never remains destroyed. His essence finds ways to reconstitute itself, often through collective fear. Reality manipulation. In the dream realm, Freddy's anatomy is completely malleable. He can transform his body, extend limbs, or manifest any physical alteration his perverse imagination can conceive. Dream physiology. The nightmare body. Freddy Krueger's physical condition after his death represents one of the most fascinating aspects of his mythology. His carbonized appearance isn't just an aesthetic choice, but a reflection of his corrupt and tortured essence. Freddy's skin presents 3rd and 4th degree burns, with exposed necrotic tissue and a texture resembling melted wax. This appearance isn't static. It fluctuates between states of advanced decomposition and grotesque semi-regeneration, symbolizing his liminal existence between life and death. Freddy's scars don't follow a conventional burn pattern. They seem almost organic in their distribution, as if they were physical expressions of his inner evil. Neurologically, Freddy represents an anomaly. His nerve endings should be completely destroyed by the burns, but he demonstrates hypersensitivity to touch, suggesting an inversion of normal neural functions. Krueger's circulatory system also defies biological logic. When injured, he rarely bleeds conventionally. Instead, his wounds exude a yellowish-green liquid or a substance resembling pus, indicating a fundamental corruption at the cellular level. The anatomy of power. How Freddy hunts. Freddy's hunting method is unique and meticulously structured. Victim location. Freddy possesses a telepathic ability to sense fear in vulnerable teenagers, particularly those connected to the families who killed him. Dream infiltration. He penetrates the subconscious of his victims during the REM phase of sleep, when they are most psychically vulnerable. Environment manipulation. He transforms his victims' dreams into personalized labyrinths based on their deepest fears. Psychic feeding. Each death strengthens Freddy, not just emotionally but energetically. He literally feeds on the terror of his victims. Soul harvesting. After physical death, Freddy absorbs the souls of his victims, incorporating them into his own essence and increasing his power. This predatory cycle follows an almost parasitic pattern, with Freddy functioning as a psychic apex predator in the dream ecosystem. The glove, anatomical extension. Freddy's iconic glove deserves its own analysis. As it represents more than a simple weapon, it's an extension of his altered anatomy. Contrary to what many assume, the glove wasn't created after his death. Krueger fabricated it while still human, symbolizing his transition from common predator to something more ritualistic. Composed of a reinforced leather base with a metal frame, the glove features 4 approximately 6-inch blades fixed to the fingers. The blades are slightly curved, maximizing damage when pulled through tissue. Wes Craven revealed that the inspiration for the glove came from observing feline predatory behavior, noting how cats retract and extend their claws. In the dream context, the glove transcends its physical form to become a direct manifestation of Freddy's will, often emerging separate from his body or transforming into other weapons. In New Nightmare, the glove evolves to become an integral part of Freddy's anatomy, fusing with bones, tendons, and flesh in a grotesque symbiosis, visually representing how violence became inseparable from his identity. Metamorphosis. The fluid anatomy. One of Freddy's most disturbing capabilities is his ability to metamorphos. This capacity isn't just cosmetic, but represents a fundamental manipulation of matter and energy in the dream realm. Complete transformations. Freddy can assume any humanoid form, from people known to the victim to archetypal figures like doctors or authorities. Body manipulation. He can extend limbs, manifest tentacles, or transform into non-human creatures like the giant snake seen in Dream Warriors. Fusion with objects. Freddy demonstrates the ability to merge with elements of the dream environment, becoming part of cars, televisions, or even architectural structures. Partial manifestations. One of Freddy's most terrifying techniques is his ability to manifest only parts of his body, such as when just his glove emerges from a television set or when his face appears through a wall. This anatomical fluidity reflects the Jungian concept of the shadow. Freddy literally represents the dark side of the collective unconscious, capable of assuming any form that provokes maximum terror. Physiological limitations and weaknesses. Despite his immense powers, Freddy isn't omnipotent. His supernatural physiology presents specific limitations. Geographic confinement. His influence is primarily limited to Springwood, suggesting an umbilical connection to the place of his death. Dependence on fear. When his victims overcome their fear, Freddy's power drastically diminishes. This represents an inversion of the parasitic relationship. Without the food of fear, Freddy weakens. Vulnerability to fire. Ironically, despite being burned alive, Freddy maintains an irrational terror of fire, which can force him out of the dream realm. Need for recognition. If completely forgotten, Freddy loses power. This limitation suggests that his existence depends on a perverse form of collective belief. Vulnerability in the real world. If pulled into physical reality, Freddy becomes mortal again, subject to the same fragilities as any human being. These weaknesses provide a crucial narrative structure for the series. establishing that even the most powerful monsters have vulnerabilities that can be exploited. Abyssal psychology, the mind behind the monster. Freddy's anatomy cannot be separated from his psychology. His behavior exhibits patterns consistent with various pathologies. Pathological sadism. Freddy doesn't simply kill out of necessity, but because he derives genuine pleasure from suffering. His elaborate psychological tortures before killing demonstrate sadistic hedonism. Malignant narcissism. His macabre sense of humor and puns during murders reveal an inflated ego and a need to be admired, even if through terror. Vindictive fixation. His obstinate pursuit of the children of those who killed him suggests a pathological inability to overcome perceptions of injustice. Psychic voyeurism. Freddy demonstrates pleasure in observing the intimate fears of his victims before attacking them, suggesting a perverse form of voyeurism. This combination of traits creates a unique psychological profile in the pantheon of horror villains. A predator who not only kills but needs to savor the terror of his victims for complete satisfaction. The genetic legacy. Freddy's descendants. Although primarily known as a destroyer of young lives, Freddy had biological descendants. During his human life, he married Loretta, with whom he had a daughter, Catherine Krueger, later known as Maggie Burroughs. The relationship between Freddy and his daughter represents one of the most complex subplots of the franchise. Catherine, Maggie, eventually becomes one of the few individuals capable of definitively defeating Freddy, suggesting a partial genetic immunity to his influence. There's also the fascinating case of Baby Freddy, seen in Dream Child. This infant manifestation of Krueger, with already deformed skin, suggests that his evil was innate, not acquired, a visual representation of the controversial theory of congenital evil. Freddy's singularity. Why not wear a mask? A crucial creative decision that differentiates Freddy from other slasher icons was Wes Craven's deliberate choice not to hide his face behind a mask. This decision has profound narrative and symbolic implications. Emotional expressiveness. Unlike Jason or Michael Myers, Freddy demonstrates a wide range of facial expressions, from anger to sadistic pleasure, disturbing, humanizing him. Confrontation with horror. The exposed scars force the viewer to directly face the deformity without the distancing provided by a mask. Inescapable identity. Freddy cannot hide who he is or what he suffered. His scars are a constant reminder for both him and his victims. Personal connection. His exposed face allows a direct visual connection with victims, making the terror more intimate and personal. This aesthetic choice reflects Craven's broader philosophy about horror, that directly facing our fears, however repulsive they may be, is an essential part of overcoming them. The anatomy of defeat. How to kill a nightmare. The methods for defeating Freddy evolved throughout the franchise, each revealing a different aspect of his supernatural physiology. Direct confrontation. Nancy Thompson discovered that removing Freddy's emotional power, "I'm not afraid of you," weakens his influence, suggesting a psychic economy in his anatomy. Spiritual purification. The burial of Freddy's mortal remains in sacred ground temporarily neutralized his power, indicating that some connection to his original physical body remains. Soul liberation. When the souls that Freddy consumed are freed, as in Dream Master, his supernatural anatomy literally disintegrates, suggesting that these souls form part of his physical structure in the dream realm. Externalization and destruction. Pulling Freddy into the real world and then physically destroying him works temporarily, although his essence always finds a way back. Collective forgetting. Perhaps the most effective method is completely erasing the memory of Freddy, cutting his connection to the world of the living through collective forgetting. These strategies reveal that Freddy's true anatomy transcends the physical. His existence is sustained by a complex web of fear, memory, and belief. Conclusion. Freddy Krueger's true immortality doesn't just reside in his ability to return film after film, but in how he penetrated the collective cultural consciousness. His unique anatomy, part physical, part dreamlike, part psychological manifestation, created a completely new type of cinematic monster. Freddy represents fear in its purest form, not just the fear of death, but the fear that our own fears might destroy us. His ability to transform dreams into nightmares reflects deeply human anxieties about the vulnerability of our subconscious mind. How do you see Freddy Krueger? A supernatural demon? A psychological manifestation of collective trauma? Or perhaps something in between? Share your opinion in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more analyses of iconic horror characters. Remember, when you fall asleep tonight, in your dreams, you're in his world.